before me, I absolutely cannot see where I can acquire any appropriate context, let alone perspective, and how things are characterized in the statements that have been made and the particular report. I simply don't, I can't see a clear way to formulate a legitimate position to govern from. Not everything that occurs on this planet is black or white. Sometimes it is in fact gray. You do need context so you can acquire appropriate perspective. And without that, you cannot appropriately govern. All that being said, look, the geopolitical realignment and the economic realignment that's occurring before folks' face as we speak is not always predicated upon a few folks being greedy. Although most of the time it is true, this tends to be the case. However, sometimes it's due to environmental issues. Sometimes it could be a situation as simple as dealing with water. We have seen this happen before. You're going to have future conflicts occurring again because of access to fresh drinking water. It's the nature of how it is. So when we look at how the glacial caps on this particular planet have decreased in size, it has had a pressure effect, if you would, on folks who rely on those glacial packs for their fresh drinking water. And we have seen in the eastern Kushite mountain range area where there were conflicts fought over Kashmir between those in Harappa and those in eastern Kushite mountain range. Those Kushite Moors over there have fought 2 conflicts. And both of them are nuclear armed now. And one of those conflicts was because of how water was being dealt with in Kashmir. Inappropriate to think that it can't happen again. And now, with things being the way they are, as unstable as they are, and the western Kushite mountain range area, you've got a situation happening now where in Harappa, folks have made a conscious decision to engage in irrigation and digging of canals on particular rivers that could affect eastern Kushite mountain range, even though it's being done in the western aspect of the Kushite mountain range. It looks like meddling, and that could lead to conflict. And there are parties who turn a blind eye to particular things because they have other agendas in the particular area. This stuff is a powder keg waiting to happen. There are many aspects that have to be looked at here. Now, my imperial government, there are things that we can do to keep the peace. There's things that we can do to mediate. But our hands are tied in certain things. We are limited in particular things. Diplomacy and governance requires that we do all we're able to keep the peace wherever there are flashpoints within our means. Now, there are other parties that engage in all types of behavior that will lead to undue stress, drama, and confusion. But it's a reality that when you have an increase in population, there's going to be a serious drain on resources. But how folks are currently across the planet using resources is not the most efficient manner, but not to mention the fact that a lot of things are contrived. But you have to pinpoint things with accuracy so that when you look at things, you have the appropriate context. That requires you to do appropriate investigation. It's really that simple. I'm really disgusted by some of the things that I'm seeing. And I'm even more disgusted by limitations of my imperial government to do something about it to assist folks in alleviating all this undue stress, drama, and confusion. What I do know is all things in their time and all things in their season. My hands might be tied today. Other folks who are looking to do things to increase peace across the planet may have their hands tied today because there are parties who are doing things by superior force of arms. Time does come, though, when even that will not be enough to stop the peace. When love goes up, the anger and the hate goes down. When the self-respect and mutual respect goes up, antagonism goes down. Not everything is settled on a battlefield. It's diplomacy and governance. And it comes down to, all right, what are the things that we have in common? What are the things that we agree upon? Alright, what are the things that we don't like about what's in front of us? What are the things that we don't agree upon? We work through those things one by one to figure out where we can negotiate, where things can be compromised, where things can be done in a mutual fashion, where there is negotiation and compromise from good faith. I don't have a problem sitting folks down and working these things out in that particular manner. It's desire and will to manifest the way to get there. Recognizing that environmental issues are definitely going to be a factor with the increase in population. It's going to require us to become on this planet increasingly more efficient, increasingly more proficient, and increasingly more agile in our thinking, so that we can become more conservation minded, so that we can do things smartly, so that our offspring and all of our posterity will be able to enjoy an excellent quality of life. There's no harm in it. There's no foul in that. And anyone speaking against that is showing you their hand. So we have to be able to get where we have to be in acquiring the appropriate context, to acquire the appropriate perspective, to be able to be honest brokers. And as Moors on this planet, we must do this. And as the Amexem-Moor-Empire imperial government on my watch, we are here. We exist and function to provide our folks with a viable option away from all that madness that the pigmentocracy generators push forward, which is not efficient, which is not proficient, and does not conserve. They're more towards something else. And I'm not going to go into the other issues in that right now. All I know is at the end of the day, we have to put things in place better for our offspring. They don't want to hear no excuses out of us. And they shouldn't hear any. It's a matter of what we choose to put in front of our face as, you know, what's on our frontal lobes that should be a priority. And as far as I'm concerned, the environment is absolutely a priority. And folks that want to play games with climate change and all that other nonsense, well, while they run their mouth and do nothing and lollygag and talk stupidity whenever they do open their mouth over being greedy, we have another method that we must deploy. Humble but dignified, always firm in the approach. Right and just and not hostile. We can accomplish all that we seek to accomplish for the benefit of our offspring and not be hostile. Quote unquote labeled by parties as being quote unquote militant and hostile doesn't apply when you're not engaged in that. And we're not going to go there. Not going to fall into folks' trap where they can use that to become an impetus for you to be marginalized. We're not going that route. Been there, done that multiple generations ago. We're not doing that in this generation. Not on my watch. Not going to happen. We got more things that we must do. Inch by inch will get us the mile. We have to pull together. As it was in the beginning of the age of Pisces, so shall it be in the end of the age of Pisces. As now Aquarius is now ascending. You were the dominant on this planet then. You're about to be the dominant again. It's nature of how it is. So we must begin to govern like that. We must begin to act like that. And I say that now is good.